Good evening, I'm Suffolk Ram.
Skazz.
Welcome to episode 248 of the Brand Nerds podcast.
248. I'll forget that in a minute.
Yeah. Do you ever remember what podcast numbers they are?
Nope.
To be fair,
Even after we finish it, he says it. Here's the trick. Behind the curtains, he says it. He'll go, episode 240, whatever it was, right? And then after we finish recording, I'll go, Ram, mate, what episode was this?
Yeah.
And then the day I remember is probably the day that something's going to come down and blow up the planet.
Yeah. And occasionally, when Skazz used to edit the podcast, occasionally I'd get him saying, what episode number were we on again?
Yeah, see?
Just so you could save the file with the correct number on it.
It has to be done. And you can't trust me with that kind of thing.
It all went,
add one. No.
It all went wrong once we got past 10. That's when it all went wrong.
10?
Well, you had your fingers then, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Wait. Oh, yeah. Is that what that's for?
Yeah.
Is that what these are for?
Yes, that's all they're for.
Oh, mate.
You need to cut one of your nails there.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's great, isn't it?
That's. I mean, how have you not broken that nail?
Well, because I'm so,
I mean,
Look, I'm so conscious about how I look. I have to make sure that I can at least, keep one thing going. I can't grow anything else.
Are you going to be like sort of that chap who's in the Guinness World Record had like the longest fingernails that like come like?
Oh, you mean the
out?
Indian chap with that,
Yeah.
where he fucking? Oh, mate, that must have been agony.
Yeah, I just don't know how you got through day. How do you get through day-to-day life like that? Because there's a point where you just can't pick anything up.
Well, dude, he could barely move. He couldn't even move his fingers, could he?
No.
It wasn't even like a case of like if he wanted to pick something, he couldn't move his hands.
It's something you see that, and it's like I get they do it for like sort of like they might be doing it for like they do it for one or two reasons, either Guinness World Records or religious reasons. There's really sort of nothing.
Or his mate was like, "Bet you can't do that," and he's like, "Fucking hold my beer." Not that he'd have said "hold my beer," but he said, "Hold my whatever I've got, son." And then because he did it for like I don't know a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? It became habit, kind of like me with daily vlogs. It went from one day, week, month, year, decade went by, and then you're like, oh shit, feels weird not to do this anymore.
Yeah, it feels weird to not have hands.
Yeah, like I mean, what do I need to use this hand for now? It's practically numb to me now.
I admire the dedication, but there's got to come a point where you go, I could just cut them. I admire the dedication. I mean, that's
and considering like Guinness Book of Records is paid for, isn't it? You don't just get in the Guinness Book of Records.
I think
you have to go.
I don't think you can.
Excuse me, bro. I've got a thing, and then you have to pay for them to come out.
I think if you want to verify it, yes, you can't just like. But I do think they do put stuff in there which people do not necessarily for the Guinness World Records if it is like recognised or reported on. I mean, if say for example, someone like sort of like breaks the land speed record and it's reported on by major national news channels across the country, I think Guinness will put it in. If it's like,
oh mate, yeah, but that's easy to get proof for, isn't it?
Yeah,
you've got a speeding ticket.
Exactly. But if it's like, oh yeah, come on Guinness, and I can put the most amount of sugar puffs up my urethra, and
can you?
It's a skill, mate. And they come out and they have to sort of verify and time and of course you've got to put the danger pay in there. Then then I understand them charging for that service.
No,
if anything, it stops people doing stupid things for the sake of getting to the Guinness World Records, unless they happen to have £3 to pay for the guy to come round.
Which is fair. I mean, but didn't they have a TV show for like random things to go into the Guinness Book of Records back in the day? Like you take part in the TV show, and then if you did, you got a record.
There was a TV show, but wasn't it? I don't think it had anything to do with the Guinness World Records. There was like, there's been a couple. There was one which was like all stupid. I think it was on like the People's World Records, and people would like invent records and do it for the TV show, and nobody was going to beat it really because no one could be asked. I don't know if they do Guinness Book of Records, but didn't they have wasn't there like a series in the 80s called Record Breakers, which is all about? Well, I think they're maybe sport things. I would Google, but the trouble is, if I go anywhere, if I touch anything on the desk like just that, then it comes through the microphone stand because this desk has absolutely no padding on it whatsoever.
Oh mate, I wouldn't don't even worry about noise coming through. I've got like my setup right now. So last week it was just like a pair of earbuds, yeah. Now I've got a microphone on one of them little floppy table tripod things. The microphone is too big for the tripody thing, and this is like one of them like vanity drawer table desk things.
Yeah,
that's it. That's my setup. Oh, on an iPhone.
Let's have it.
Because we found out something, right? iPhone, well good. It's got this feature called continuity camera, which is what I'm using right now, which is why I look so fucking hideous, because I ain't going to go find wherever I put the 2,000, 3,000 pound camera, which of course I need for a podcast, right? So we're like, okay, we'll use continuity camera. You can't use continuity camera and their sidecar feature at the same time, and you can't use continuity cam and the microphone feature on, say, Discord and my door. It just goes, no, you can't do it. No. And that'll just turn off the microphone.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just had a quick Google, see if Record Brothers thing. Record Brothers was a thing. It's a children's TV show. Right? And basically they used to interview people who in the world record who'd done world records. And they'd have apparently studio audience would challenge the two Guinness World Record people to, like, they challenged the Guinness World Record people to see if they could break their knowledge of records, and they'd always do a test in a world record attempt in the show in the studio. But what I like about this is, so it talks, this is the blurb it tells you about, okay? And see when it just suddenly jumps out, it goes off the rails a little bit. As well as interviews with people who held British or world records, early editions of the programme would include a feature in which the studio audience would test the McGriffith brothers on their almost infallible knowledge of records. And the climax of each show would usually be a world record attempt in the studio. Ross was murdered by a provisional IRA gunman in 1975, but his brother continued to appear on the show in the Norris of the Spot feature. I just love that bit they put in there, that they felt that...
Wow.
Like, it's like, yeah, he did interviews, show everything. Oh, by the way, one of the people who was on it was killed by the IRA. Just so you know.
Surprise!
Yeah, I just like that's like I like the fact that they felt, not that I hate to say that was relevant, but yeah, it kind of was. It was actually relevant to the for the purposes.
Claim to fame. Killed by IRA.
Yeah. But yes, Record Breakers. So there you go. And then there was something called like the People's World Records, which I think was a Channel 4 show that wasn't very good. And people would just try and do like people would do like a greyhound race, but with people being the greyhounds. And you just get like these load of like sort of slightly overweight middle-aged people desperate to go on the TV coming out of greyhound traps.
I don't remember. There was a bloke who, like, oh mate, I can name however many songs if you only give me like a half a second of the song. I can tell you what song it was, what year it came out, and all that stuff. Yeah. A very Ready Player One skill. And what was there was another guy. I don't know if this is the same show.
Yeah,
so, yeah, mate, I can eat like the most. I can eat the most roast dinners in like fucking 5 minutes or some shit.
I think you're thinking something called You Bet.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
I think that's what you're thinking. I think it's called You Bet, and that was basically the idea was, yeah, I think it was called You Bet, and it used to be on a Saturday.
Because I don't know why I remember the Sunday dinner one, but like he specifically complained because he did it twice, and the first time he fucked it. And his complaint was you used instant mashed potatoes.
I can understand that because instant mashed potatoes are vile.
And that's what cost him the record, mate.
I can believe it though, because instant mashed potatoes are drying of the mouth. They haven't quite got the juices.
Basically something to the effect of if you're not going to put in the effort to make a proper roast dinner, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. You Bet is a British game show based. What? It is a British game show. It's still going? No.
You must have made this shit up, Ram.
Based on a German show called A Written Das. A panel of celebrities is based on the abilities of members of the public to achieve unlikely challenges and stunts, which they usually plan and rehearse many times within a limited amount of time. The studio audience would also place to bet on the outcomes. The players would receive points for each outcome they predicted correctly, based on the percentage of the studio audience that also placed the correct bet. That's a complicated scoring system. The celebrity sponsored challenge always had to bet that challenge would be successful. The accumulated total of points achieved by celebrities would be added to the points totaled by the studio audience, increasing several times over, converted to pounds and donated to a charity chosen by celebrity players who had the highest score. What a convoluted system of scoring. But yeah, that was it. I always remember because they always used to get the people in the JCBs would crack open an egg with a JCB and sort of scoop it out.
I know, I remember stuff like that.
Yeah, that was.
That's how bad.
Yeah. To be
what a skill.
Yeah. His wife must have loved him.
So yeah, mate, I can make you egg and soldiers, and I can crack the bastard with my JCB.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing skill, but at the same time, it's my word, how much time have you had to dedicate to your life to drive that JCB that you can do that?
That was back in the day when people actually gave a shit about being good at their jobs.
Yeah. And what's actually even more interesting now I think about it is because back then, those JCBs probably were spools for the hydraulics. So actually, that might make things easier because when you have spool hydraulics, where your controls are directly linked to the actual valves of the hydraulics, you have got a lot of finesse over those. Whereas a lot of the newer ones, they have electronically controlled hydraulics. And the trouble with those is that there's often a slight lag when you use them.
Yeah, fly by wire.
Yeah. And yes, there's a slight lag, so you can't quite get the finesse because obviously you can't. It's not when you've got dealing with the actual valve. You've got real fine control. You can real feather it, whereas you can't do that with an electric one.
Look, I get the idea of fly by wire, right? It's magical stuff running everything through a computer. Makes everything super easy and super. I just don't like the idea of running that kind of stuff through a goddamn computer or everything through a goddamn computer. Because when that computer go wrong,
but that's why most like flyby systems you get like in aircraft and in most sort of vehicles, it's not a computer, it's multiple computers. And
multiple. So like on a plane you get three.
Yeah, they have to agree, or two have to agree.
Mate, I was going to say, if it was a 3 out of 3 system and all three of them have to agree, it's like, well, we're fucked then. Why? Because that one's duff.
Yeah,
oh,
but I think at least two have to agree.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
But it does mean you have some, I mean, it's quite, I mean, if you ever look like into what the Airbus can do and how many features it's got, the fact that it could basically stop pilots doing stupid things. Just watching like mentor pilots, the amount of times they get to an Airbus, because there's a feature of the Airbus that if the pilots are just sort of like, stop trying to fight and let the Airbus do its thing, the Airbus would have been okay.
If they'd have just let go and jump out the back, it's kind
of like that. Yeah, it's kind of a stage where the autopilot plane is like, no, you're being stupid. Just let me carry on and I'll sort it out.
I don't know why, but I just thought, you know what would be really funny if they wired up the flight stick to shock the pilot for being a fucking idiot and just let autopilot take over. Well, he keeps trying to fight me, zap him to stun him, and then fucking go.
The Boeings have those like stick shakers on them, which is when you're about to stall the plane, and the little motor shakes rattles the actual flight control. Because back when that was actually replicating something that used to happen when they were like proper physical controls. When you got close to your stick would shake a little bit from like the sort of buffeting on the wings as you're about to store. And so when they went to fly-by-wire type systems, they built a motor in to replicate it, called the stick shaker. Because, you know...
I'm surprised Boeings even stay in the air these days.
Yeah. Oh, these are the ones that were designed a long time ago, so...
The ones that actually worked. Good job, guys!
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need to keep up. We're not going to redesign everything because that'll cost a lot of money. Let's just tack this on and not train people about it.
I love the way that airplanes go into one or two ways when they come to naming things. They're either an incomprehensible acronym, like, oh yes, this plane's got the famous CB729X survival system. Great, good. What does it do? Make sure the tea's hot. Or they come with something really obvious like autopilot, stick shaker. Yeah, something really obvious. Yeah, I just love the fact they don't go. There's nothing in between.
Stick shaker sounds like an arrestable offence.
Well, indeed.
I'm just saying, mate.
Yeah.
I went into the cockpit and I grabbed the big stick.
And it shook violently.
There was a big, a big pulse shaking stick there.
I pulled it round, and as we approached the store, it started to shake violently. I need to adjust my trim next time.
Oh, mate.
Also, I just had a really dirty thought. Because obviously the other thing is you have like levels of flaps as well, like flaps 5, flaps 10. Oh, we've got flaps 15 going on. It's going to be an easy one tonight.
Ram, no.
I know, I just couldn't help myself.
I don't want to play, what's the game where you fly again?
Flight Simulator.
That's the one.
So I appreciate the name is so complicated to pair what you do.
Mate, that's one of them airplane names. I'll never be able to remember
Yeah.
it.
What's that game where you simulate flying planes? Oh, Flight
No, so
Simulator.
what's that? No, mate, what's that game where you drive the trucks around Europe?
Yeah,
What the fuck is that called, man?
And it's simulated as well.
Yeah, what the fuck is that called?
Yeah.
Trucks of Europe, fucking.
Yeah.
That just makes me think of a war game, doesn't it?
Oh, whoops, put that down. Sorry about the noise. Yeah. What's that game where it's like you go and you steal like automobiles and you steal them and you almost feed them and it's like in a really grand environment where you do. What's that game where you do all that?
Saturday night.
Saturday night in the Skazz household.
Yeah, Saturday night on the Witten estate, mate.
Surprised there's any cars left on the Witten estate that have got like are drivable.
It's gone very soft these days, I will say.
Has it been gentrified?
Rather nice houses down there now.
Has it been gentrified?
It's weird. It's like it's turned from a ghetto into like, you know, like the American places with the picket fences and all that, and everyone's got like the homeowners associations come around. It's like your grass is 1 millimeter too long, get it sorted, or we're taking your house. Yeah. It's gone like that.
Oh, because I remember the Witten estate going. There's like all these fences are chain link fences, like those like sort of mesh fences stuff. I'd only ever seen like on, like like sort of like rural
prisons.
Yeah, it's like sort of like American TV shows set in like sort of the poor parts of the world. I was like, I didn't think there's a thing happening in UK.
Yeah. Council estates, mate. Government housing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
Home sweet home.
Home sweet home. Witten estate.
Yeah.
Yeah. With debatable if it's got more or less inbreeding than Alabama. Dear.
Good times.
Good times. Oh, well, cool. So, been up to anything, Skazz, apart from having audio issues?
Right, well, audio issues, apparently I lost 10 seconds. If we lose 10 seconds here, oops. I mean, hopefully there's something that I'm saying so you're not missing anything. So that's why we've rebuilt this. Not that anyone could tell that it's shit anyway. Right? He's dying! Stop dying, Ram!
I've been dying for a week, yeah.
What are you dying for a week for? It's supposed to be a holiday, chill out.
No, I'm not on holiday yet. I'm on holiday for another week in another week or so. But yeah, no, I started.
And don't die. You got another week. You're on the clock.
I have took out half the offers.
Mate.
I went to. I was. Well, you know me. I was feeling unwell.
Didn't the COVID teach you anything?
Well, I felt well, but I didn't feel that unwell to not be able to go into work.
That's what they all say.
So I went into work.
Oh, I didn't feel too bad. Everyone's dead.
Yeah. So I went into work and.
Have you not played Resident Evil?
Resident Evil wasn't a coughing fit.
How do you know?
I've seen the documentary film. You know, I saw that. It was a little jar of blue liquid. Like they use in the adverts where they do the tampons. They use little blue liquid. It's the same thing.
Now, do you reckon it's the same stuff they put in liquid tabs for your wash machine and that?
Yeah, that's
in
why.
Your
that's why you mustn't eat them.
So yeah, fucking Tide Pods, umbrella was just making detergent.
Yeah, that was yeah. They're not turned to zombies. They're just high on bloody on Tide Pods.
Well, no, because they were what the Umbrella Corporation was trying to do. T-virus was just something that they were trying to make your dishes cleaner. It was trying to eat all the gunk off your dishes.
Exactly. Yes.
And all these stupid bastards ingested it, and
there you go. This is why we can't have nice things.
There's too many people who are stupid and trying to eat it.
Yeah, too many people like to say, let's eat the. I mean, it does seem now that there seems to be a concerted effort to come up with the most stupidest challenge possible that's going to reduce the gene pool down a little bit, and put it on TikTok and just assume everybody will copy it.
Are we going to say that's the one thing TikTok's good at?
What, reducing the gene pool?
Getting rid of the stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is where America can come on board, because what they need to do is they need to start a TikTok challenge of playing Russian roulette with a semi-automatic.
Nah, you got to remember they like their guns. They know how they work.
Do they?
Well, Kind of.
I don't feel
they know that they know that the death bits come out of the end of them sometimes.
Yes, the little metal bits of death.
Is it loaded? Yes. Is the safety off? Yes. Don't put it near your face, but really anywhere else. Point it away from yourself.
No, not at the school. Not at the school. We've discussed this already.
For fuck's sake!
Yeah, my freedom.
And they're like, yeah, but what about that? It's like, look, now that's just being racist. Why? Because I noticed you've swung it away from the school towards all the people that don't look like you, for fuck's sake.
So, yeah, can't point at anything these days.
Fucking, they're taking our jobs and I need oil. It's like, right? And I need to get planning permission for the latest Starbucks in Baghdad. It's like, well, fuck's sake, mate.
Yeah, off you go. Yeah.
You should have done that beforehand. You didn't need to shoot them.
Yeah. But that's how they get the Starbucks. They shoot them.
They're giving them freedom.
Yeah. We're gonna go over there
and they start slowly building McDonald's and Starbucks around them.
Yeah, that's how you solve a problem like Al Qaeda.
You just turn them American.
Yeah, from the people who produce that how to solve a problem like Mary, how to solve a problem like Al Qaeda. Yeah, just go over there. Yeah, just go over there and deliver like several thousand rounds of freedom.
That just makes me, dude. Now you're making me want to play Helldivers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fucking
in the same
democracy,
way,
mate.
In the same way that so many people miss the point of Starship Troopers, I think a lot of people have missed the point of hell. I've missed the point of Helldivers. You are not the good guys.
It's not an instruction manual, guys.
You are the bad guys.
That actually came out like there was a load of people on social media going, "Oh fucking hell, mate! It's like basically a Nazi simulation." You do understand you're not supposed to do this. We do understand that this isn't like a guidebook.
Yes. It's like people who get confused about the Imperium before. Okay, they're not the fucking good guys.
No, wait, what?
Yeah, they may be human, but they're not the good guys.
Surprise!
Surprise. Although apparently the author of Starship Troopers was somewhat fascist, and then the director basically realised that they made the film into a satire to sort of poke fun at how stupid it all was. And everybody missed the point.
Well, yeah, because you're expecting people to think.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Skazz, I interrupted you there.
Yeah, so if the audio's broken, tough. I've cobbled this together. It doesn't look like it's actually coping all that well at the moment. I think we're running at like 4 frames a second.
You seem to be fine on this end. You're faster on my end.
Oh, there you go. Lucky you, because on my end, it's like, you've got like 2 FPS. Woo!
This is the irony. This is the irony. I've got like Ultra HD 4K super smooth 150 FPS. Skaz's got like VHS quality.
Yeah, like I'm proper rock and potato on this end. Like,
yeah.
Whatever. I'll take potato today. Well, I'll take potato forever at this point. Fuck you guys.
Can't be arrested for it. Why is he in hospital? He took a potato. Oh.
Yeah. Really hurt. Tore my insides up.
Yeah.
But fucking, how did he take the potato? You don't want to know. He took one to the head, and then
he made sure the eyes were down.
Oh, mate. But so we've mentioned fucking driving trucks across Europe, the game, right?
Yep.
So at some point we need to get Middlemeister on, because I've kind of dipped into his area of expertise since losing all of my equipment. I say losing my equipment, it's in a storage locker. There is no space for me. Gotta keep mobile,
you playing
guys.
The first 2 hours in the automata again?
Of course. Oh, fuck off. I've got to keep mobile because you never know when the government's going to come kick down the door and say, take Ram nerds off the fucking air. And I'm like, you can't stop the signal, man. They ain't going to go after Ram because Ram's he's a nice guy.
I'm a respectable office worker now.
Exactly. They don't like me because I keep moving shit about. But can't you just put something somewhere and just leave it? And I'm like, no, I've got to keep changing things. And they're like, then you're dangerous. Fuck you. And I'm like, sorry. So at one point, there might be like a, I ain't dead sign on the thing. But no, so we need to get Middlemeister in because for the first time in like a bajillion years, so my PC's gone. PC gaming at this point is basically a Steam Deck. And so somehow the PlayStation 5 has found its way back into my life, which I'm not a huge fan of. But it got to the point where I've upgraded the hard drive in it, or the SSD in it. Not cheap, because companies don't like putting storage in their systems, even though their games keep getting bigger. Hey, yo, you've got to install the game you want to play on your system. Kind of like how you do on a PC. You still need the disc, but you have to install it on your drive. By the way,
like you had to do on your
space
PC about 20 years ago.
You've only got space for, like, a game. I'm like, all right, cool. All right. Okay. I want to play Sea of Thieves and Phantasy Star. Now, mate, you've only got space for one. That's not actually true. You got space for a couple of them.
I really love the way that basically you've established that if you want a nostalgic PC experience, get a PlayStation 5, because you can only fit one game in your hard drive. You need the disc to play it, and you have to install it.
It's like, dude, it makes me think of my old Packard Bell from like 1990, when the fuck ever. Like, hey yo, bro, fucking next I'll say, hey yo, do you want to like play your game? Plug in a fucking floppy disk. I was like, shove it up your ass. No, but it is. It's just, and the user interface is shit. And it's just so many things are pretty when they move around on the screen and stuff, but it's shit. Fix your user interface. Anyway, need to get Middlemeister in, because I spoke to Middlemeister a couple of weeks ago when I started shifting all my kit into the storage unit and that. But 2 points we need to bring him up on. One, as I say, I'm now back on the PlayStation, having my retro PC experience. And all I'm doing is playing. I say playing. I ain't playing now. I've only installed them, which took 5 days, by the way. Doesn't matter how fast your internet connection is. Like, if the thing that you're piped to is running like shite.
Oh, we've lost audio. Skazz.
High speed internet be there.
Let's come back.
Took 5 days to download stuff. 5 days. Pointless. High speed internet, my ass. So I haven't had a chance to play anything really, but I'm curious as to whether or not Middlemeister has tried streaming his games off of his PlayStation onto like his phone or like a PlayStation Portal, because he likes PlayStation-y stuff, right? And I'm a fan of game streaming. Not like streaming to like Twitch or YouTube. I like doing that. But I mean like streaming from Stadia, Amazon Luna, GeForce Now, that kind of thing, where you play a game and it gets streamed from one server onto another one. The PlayStation allows you to play a game on the system and stream it to your phone. And Sony have released this thing called the PlayStation Portal, which is just basically a handheld tablet, looks like a PlayStation controller with a screen in the middle of it. And it's just to do PlayStation Remote Play, I think. Like, that's the main feature of it, right? But in my experience, PlayStation, like, the Remote Play is shite. Unless you've got everything wired in, which you should do, because streaming anything over Wi-Fi is really, really, really dumb because of the way Wi-Fi works. I won't explain it. I think I've already had this rant when it came to fighting games and playing them on Wi-Fi, why you shouldn't do it. In short, latency and hops, but just don't do it. Unless you've got your stuff wired in, remote play's kind of crap. And right now, I'm not in the position where I can wire my gear in. And so I was like, for me, PlayStation Portal would be bollocks, and I'd be curious what if Middlemeister has tried one or tried streaming to his phone, what he thought. Because I know a guy years ago, so when we used to play Monster Hunter World on PlayStation 4, you used to be able to do remote play on the PlayStation Vita, like Sony's last handheld. And we played Monster Hunter World, and one of my mates' mates would go to work, and on his lunch break, we'd get him into a call, and then he'd bust out his Vita and connect to his PlayStation from home. And it would work just well enough that he could play Monster Hunter World with us. I I don't understand how that could even possibly work if your system's on Wi-Fi. Not very well. What are people's thoughts on the Portal? And how many? Because apparently this is a really popular device. Like lots of like dads and shit are getting it because you don't have to connect that. Like your PlayStation turns on, it's effectively being controlled by the Portal. So if someone turned the telly over, they'd see the PlayStation doing all the menu things and the gamey things and all that kind of stuff. But it's all being kind of beamed over to your phone or to your Portal. Popular for dads, husbands, women without TVs, I guess. I don't fucking know. But like it really struck me that this is a very popular device. Sony's regular streaming stuff that's based on Gaikai, their game streaming stuff that they used to get PlayStation 3 games on the PlayStation 5, isn't particularly popular from what I understand. It never was back in the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 days. But it hits that if this is really popular, why wasn't Stadia? Because like Stadia and GeForce Now and all these things, because I had a way better experience using Stadia than I have done PlayStation Remote Play. It really is, like we argued with the whole Stadia thing back in the day. People can shit on streaming, but it's convenient. It's pretty fucking good, but it is heavily reliant on your connection and how the server is connected up.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm right now saying that PlayStation Remote Play is kind of shitty. I know why. It's on wireless, on a home network, and it's gone Wi-Fi. You're getting like random hops that it's not accounting for because it's on Wi-Fi. You'll have occasional drops in quality to the connection because it's on Wi-Fi, and that will cause a ridiculous amount of latency on the other end as well because of all these different hops it's having to do. But just how come people are so forgiving of the Portal and not Stadia?
Google.
I know that was kind of a really roundabout way to actually just ask that question.
Google bad.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that this is
Trouble was Stadia was very much a victim of the most people who shat on Stadia had never played or used Stadia or ever used it at all. It became like someone says, "Oh yeah, Stadia's absolute crap. It's slow, it's sluggish, and so forth." Then all the people who watch them on their stream goes, "Yeah, Stadia's crap and stuff," and it becomes a meme that sort of flows around about how terrible and shit it is. When
it's the Hitler thing, isn't it? Like lie big, lie hard, and it becomes truth.
Yeah, and yeah, so because just a few people just sort of sworn about it, so it was bad. Everybody just assumed it was bad and would shit on it. You saw the same thing with Cyberpunk. People just shat on it, and they'd never even played the game. They just made jokes about how bad it was and how how terrible it was, and they actually have never played it. But because it was fashionable to do so, people copied it.
That was a good game.
Yeah, very good game. And I mean, it had its grumbles right at the start, but it was very. For consoles, yes, there were issues. There was issues with Cyberpunk, but vastly overblown by a good chunk of people, by a small chunk of people made into a big chunk of people for no reason, and it just basically. And what happened was it stuck around and got its reputation back. But it had issues. We can't deny that, but it just got very much overblown.
If you were on console, that was all like PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Really, that was unplayable.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That was the genuine issue. That was the genuine issue. But it's the same with.
But that was strictly down to just the hardware wasn't capable.
Yeah. Yes.
As soon as you put the PlayStation 4 disc in a PlayStation 5, that game ran beautifully.
Yeah. They should never have released them. They should just said we can't do it for that system, and should never try to release it. So and it's the same with TV shows, films, and stuff. they're films that people just use that because they have a reputation of being like, oh, some people just will shit on it, and the few sort of influential people shit on it, everybody just assumes they're terrible or bad, or they've not actually seen them.
Yeah.
You know, things have a reputation of being bad, but you may watch, you may enjoy it. You know, you don't know. And people just tell. I mean, obviously there are exceptions to the rules and so forth, but you know, people joke about like Twilight. I've never seen Twilight. I will never watch Twilight because it's nothing. It doesn't interest me at all. But vast loads of people seem to really enjoy it. So it can't be as bad as it can't be that terrible. You know,
it's that case where sometimes the reverse is true, though, isn't it? Where someone will overhype something, you'll go into it and be like, "Wow, this ain't really all that good."
Yeah. Yes.
You know. But the thing with the whole Stadia PlayStation thing is, I'm just trying to think of why the PlayStation, outside of the social media horseshit, why? Because the PlayStation Portal has had plenty of flack, right? Too, but when you look at it from an actual use case scenario, it's actually pretty sound. Look, you know, people shit on Stadia, because look at the lag and all that, whilst they're sat there in their high-powered gaming PCs. But for someone who maybe only had a phone or whatever, Stadia was great.
Yeah.
Right, because it was the tool that they had that enabled them to play games they otherwise wouldn't have been able to. Same kind of thing with the PlayStation Portal. But it's like, so what other reasons do we have then, if not social media shitting on it? Because it's like a £200 like slab that's only good for remote play, from what I understand. Could it be that just like people are invested in the ecosystem? You know, like you don't shit on an iPhone if you own a Mac. You know, or
I think that's partly it.
You know, or is it because the option is there that you own the thing that you're streaming?
I think the thing is, in the case of Stadia, if you have a bad connection, a bad Stadia experience, all your Stadia experience is going to be bad.
Yeah,
in the case of PlayStation Portal, you have the PlayStation still, and so you may be like, well, it's not. I could go and still play the PlayStation if I want to, but I have got this for what this does. It's sort of like works what it does, but I've still got the primary system, so it sort of offsets. It feels like a neat add-on. That's not the best, but it all works. As opposed to the only system you've got is Stadia. If that Portal was the only way you could have a PlayStation, then it probably would get a lot more hounded because there's no alternative. If like you couldn't play on the PlayStation at all, it only streamed to this little box, it was shit. It was going to get hounded.
Well, kind of like Steam machines, really, weren't it? They weren't quite ready. If that was the only way you had to play games, and that, you know, your Steam library became incredibly limited because of the nature of the machine, you were like, not quite what I was going for, but still, all right, little boxes. I was just curious if Middlemeister as well had actually tried it, like if he'd even used remote play, because he's a big PlayStation guy, or he was before he got his Steam Deck. I don't know if he still is.
I'm not sure.
Like I said, I was just curious if at one point, if at some point we can get Middlemeister on, it'd be interesting to find out if he's tried it. Like, has he ever gone to work and on his lunch break, you know, busted out his phone and hooked it up to his PlayStation and had a few games, and what his experience was like? Because actually going back to using the PlayStation 5, I mean, I've barely touched the PS5 since launch. That's what, 3 years now? Maybe?
Yeah.
Like mine's hardly been touched.
Yeah, it was the year after COVID, wasn't it? It was like was it the tail end of COVID year when it launched? Or was it the year after COVID? Because there was
something like 2021 one or something like that.
Yeah, there was massive shortages of them, wasn't there, for like months?
That was scalpers, because we had the chip shortage for a start, and then scalpers were buying them up, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, sales of PlayStations are huge, but no one's buying the games." It's like, yeah, because 2/3 of the systems are in warehouses bought by scalpers.
Yeah.
So yeah, software sales are low, even though console sales are high, because no one's actually got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've barely used it. I've got stacks of games for the damn thing. It's been all right to see all of the games that I used to have on PlayStation 4, because I started going digital years ago, because I'm already digital on Steam, right? So, and I've got kids, so why not? Physical's great until you realize you have to download all of the data or install all of the data, or there's day one patches or updates or whatever. The physical disc doesn't do anything anymore. It's just a license. Just flip it away, and you're done. Right? You might as well just go digital. Since Xbox 360 days, you might as well just go digital. But just it's nice to flick on the system, look at all the PS4 games I got, because my PlayStation 4 failed. I just completely carked it. The CPU and GPU just lifted off the board, or started to lift off the board. It needs to be reballed. You just can't. You couldn't use it. It killed itself through heat. But I just haven't used it. As I said, I've got stacks of games. I've just not fucking used it. Although I will. Can I just throw out there, Sony? Get your game shit sorted with your old games on new system. So I said earlier, Cyberpunk PS4 version on PS5 ran beautifully, right? If you go to play certain games from the PlayStation 4 on the PlayStation 5, it doesn't do what the Xbox will do and kind of like do some upscaly jiggery pokery or play at a higher frame rate or whatever. It will just lock it as it was on the console it was released on. And sometimes it feels a bit half-assed.
It's because I imagine Xbox architecture is basically a PC. Just each version is basically, whereas there was a lot more custom hardware in PlayStations, wasn't there? Like you had like PS2, the emotion.
Not since PlayStation 4.
Well, PlayStation 4 is just a PC.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So even if you're playing PS4 games, they're not doing anything magical to bring it up to snuff. Whereas if you play an Xbox One game on an Xbox Series, you get higher frame rates, higher resolution.
Well, yeah, you just play the same game on a more powerful PC. Yeah.
But you can't do that on a PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah. So Sony should really sort their shit out. Also, I do kind of like that Microsoft have gone from the 360, which I believe was PPC. That was a PowerPC chip. They went from PowerPC, Xbox 360. Xbox One would play some of they had their backwards compatibility mode. That would also upscale and give you higher frame rates. Sony, get it sorted. Although apparently they've recently patented that you might be able to. They're working on a way to get PlayStation 3 games to work on the PlayStation 5. It's an emulator. We've already got those, and they're pretty good. But
I think someone was. I was watching a YouTube the other day, and they point out that most designers look at what the market wants, and then will try and design hardware, whatever, or something to match what the consumers want. Sony decide what the consumers want and design the hardware based on what they think the consumers want, and don't listen to anybody else.
Sony does have who was it? That was one of their presidents for one of their divisions. I might have been in the audio department in the days of the CD. Was incredibly hostile to their customer base. Almost like they were treating the people who were buying their CDs like they were the enemy.
Yeah.
Do you remember that rootkit they had? Back in the day?
Yeah,
to stop you from ripping CDs. Back then, back in the early 2000s, actually having to install software on your PC to allow you to play a CD because they didn't want you to rip it. It's like, you're not punishing pirates. You're punishing the bastards that have bought your CD.
Yeah, but what's worse...
And the guy that was in charge of that division is like, yeah, fuck them.
But we
will take control of what is ours at every point, and if they don't like it,
they didn't just take control of what was ours, because they installed it and it stayed on your PC and added vulnerabilities to your PC after you weren't using the disk. It's not that the disk itself had the protection in it, and so you couldn't copy it. It actually broke your PC. It stored a virus on your PC.
Apparently, that's why those CDs didn't come with the compact disc logo on it.
Not compliant.
Exactly, because that extra piece of software went against the standard that Sony and Philips put together.
Yeah,
and so you couldn't put it on there. Good job, Sony.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
I think they were saying we'll firebomb them at their PCs or something like that. They said something really extreme. I was like, that's your user base, Sony.
Yeah. You're not protecting your users. When you punish your user base for trying to use your stuff normally, then you're really not doing it right. But that just seems to be Sony through and through. They just seem to sort of they decide what they think everybody needs and wants, and just assumes they're right, And it's the Simpsons meme with Skinner, isn't it? Goes, no, the children are wrong. It's like that with Sony. Sony go, nope, the users are wrong.
Yep.
And sometimes that's the right decision to make. Sometimes they don't know what's good for them. But a lot of the time, but everybody else has this crazy idea going, people really like to do X, Y, Z. Let's design the hardware so it can do X, Y, Z.
Yeah. I mean, Microsoft's implementation of backwards compatibility has been fantastic whilst they were updating it. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Sony buying Gaikai and saying, "Oh yeah, we'll just let you stream them." It's not quite up to snuff. Yeah. I mean, think about it. I've bitched about Sony no end of times. The fact that the Sony is the system underneath my TV right now is fucking horrible, because I've bitched them out so much over the years. Censorship practices, anti-consumer practices, the fact they've shut down studios because they don't like certain types of games anymore. So like once upon a time, if you wanted just somewhat more adult games, you'd go to Sony. Nintendo would have the more kiddie-friendly ones. Then all of a sudden, Nintendo and Sony flip-flop, and you've got the uncensored fucking full-on gore mode, whatever game is now on the Nintendo. And Sony's like, oh yeah, we're not releasing that game because we don't want outrage on Twitter. And yet the PlayStation is under my telly.
Yeah.
Oh, Sony, please get your shit together.
They've not changed it in the last 40 years, so I don't think you're going to get much luck there.
I don't like it. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't like any of the games industry. You know me. I tend to be pretty hard on shit like this. Like, oh, I'm not going to use this company. I'm not going to use that company. But it's got to the point now where I'm like, you're all fucking evil. And if I want to engage with any of this stuff as a hobby, I'm going to have to bend because there's no one left. Nintendo sucks bollocks. They fucking shut down everything, sue people left and right. You write sheet music, you're going to court. You dump ROMs, you're going to court. You make a fan game using their IP, you're going to court.
To be fair, Nintendo has always been like that, to be fair.
Yeah, and then again, but then the same kind of stuff with Sony. Sega joined in as well, and I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, then Microsoft are like, yeah, well, guess what? We're going to shut down these studios. Day later, oh, mate, we need more games like that. You've just shut down the studio, you fuck.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you want to play, you have to engage with some of these assholes. Whether you like, you can be like, you can hard know them, but eventually you're going to run out of stuff to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, they've got the market. They've got the market. So.
Oh, it just drives me fucking nuts. Modern gaming sucks balls. Middlemeister, how are you finding the Steam Deck? And I hope you're enjoying Euro Truck Simulator. That's what he's playing, by the way.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He mocks me for playing Euro Truck Simulator.
I think he said it was Euro Truck. I'm pretty sure he said it was like some big rig game, and he'd like to get a steering wheel and that stuff, but he hasn't got the space for it. So don't I know it? But that's just great. Like, the Steam Deck has opened up a huge world for Middlemeister. I really want to know how he's getting on with it.
Yeah.
Because he's not a PC guy, and he's not a Linux guy. He weren't even a fucking PC guy.
No, he wasn't.
So you've got a PC now, you little bastard. You got no excuse. And the PlayStation's got Discord on it.
Middlemeister join game night soon.
Yeah, fucking no excuses. Crossplay's a thing. Sea of Thieves, Fantasy Star. Let's fucking get in there, son. Helldivers, let's go.
Yes.
Freedom and fucking democracy, son. Let's do this.
Well, let's talk about happier games, shall we?
What's wrong with democracy and freedom?
That's a past issue. Let's talk.
Go on, Ram. What have you been playing, son?
Let's talk about Blood Bowl, shall we?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So we've talked about playing Blood Bowl for quite some time. We're going to get the actual physical version at one point and play that, but we decided to play the digital version just on a whim. Well, there's just two of us.
Blood Bowl 2.
Blood Bowl 2. Yeah. Apparently, the better of the all three is the better. It's the best one out of the three, apparently.
Yeah,
So,
apparently people got really pissy with microtransactions in 3.
yeah, I know people aren't particularly keen on 3, and Blood Bowl just fixes a lot of the issues of Blood Bowl 1. Although it has
Yeah.
still got its issues. So Blood Bowl is American football, but somehow more bloody. Mainly because the guys actually do punch each other around, even if they wear armor.
Yep.
So it's more like rugby in many ways, or hockey. And
Yeah, it's like a fucking American football if it was played using hockey rules.
yes, yeah, that's probably it, yeah. Yes, that's probably far off. So
Fighting's in the bylaws, motherfucker.
yeah, it's set in the old Warhammer world, not the new Warhammer world. And the teams in this game take all the various different fantasy races of Warhammer. So humans, elves, orcs, dark elves, Skaven, all have different halflings, chaos, all have their own little teams you can buy, and you form up and you build your team. And the game's got like a full on like sort of league mode, like if you play single player, where you can like sort of recruit your team and you can like buy players, can gain experiences, and you can like buy new players and so forth. But we're doing the multiplayer side of things on this one.
I just want to throw out there, actually, it's partly Blood Bowl 2's fault. This Blood Bowl 2's fault as to why I've got the PlayStation 5 set back up.
Are you playing on PlayStation 5?
So, no, I wanted to see if I still had my save. Because I last played the game a billion years ago on PlayStation 4 with Divine, with my mate Divine. But it turns out PlayStation Plus doesn't still have my save, so it's gone.
Oh, sad face.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, your team's up, and it's split into 8. It's a turn-based game. Each team gets a turn, and you can move you got, by default it's 2 minutes, but you can change it, and you can move your players around. It's a grid-based game, and again the sort of arena looks like an American football pitch, in sort of shape and size, and it is basically sort of clearly heavily inspired American football. The ball looks like an American football, but covered in metal. And teams basically you take it's in 2 halves. One team will be offensive, one team will be defensive. Does it switch on the goal? Does it switch on which half you play? I think it switches when you score a goal. I think the team who scores,
I don't remember now.
I think the team who score the goal then become the defenders, I think.
We'll pretend that's the case.
But swap it over, and you basically have to pick you start off by picking a formation for your team, which is slightly bugged.
Yeah, for you doesn't work at all for whatever reason.
It wouldn't let me. I couldn't change my formation. I'd set it up how I wanted it. I thought first of all, because I hadn't saved it. I saved it. It wouldn't let me set it up, and then it's like, no, sorry, I'm going to default back to the formation that's shit.
Would it have just if you'd have just hit the save set formation without changing anything, did that work at all?
The second time I tried that, because I thought that's what I'd done wrong. I wonder if perhaps there's some rule that I'd broken. Like maybe you do need to have players near the front line. Maybe that's a rule, which is why it was.
Oh yeah, I think you have to have guys right up front.
That's probably why it wouldn't let me do it then.
Right on the center, you have to have guys right on the center line.
Oh, there you go. That's why it wouldn't let me do the setup. So next time,
I'm pretty sure that's one of the rules.
You see, this thing is I haven't actually read the rules, so I actually don't know. I've just sort of bodged it.
Yeah, I used to play the tabletop, so
yeah. So you set your players up, and then both teams get to go, and then it's 18 turns, 9 in each half. Was it 16 turns? 8. 16 turns, 8 in each half.
Some turns.
Yeah, and you each get to play a turn, and one side will initially throw the ball to the other side, and the attackers will throw it into the defender's territory. The defenders will have to try and capture the ball, and you have to pass it between your players and try and sort of get up to the other end of the field and score a touchdown by getting into the end zone of your opponents. And move-wise, all your characters can move per turn up to their distance, and you can go a bit further. You can do what they call going for it, where you sort of you risk falling over.
A dice roll for per square. One square, you can do it twice per run per character, and you can roll anything but a 1.
Yeah, and I call it going for it. If you have to go plus other player, each player has a tackle zone, which is just an 8 square grid around them. And if you have to go past them, then there's a chance that they can potentially tackle you or knock you over or knock you out. And also, if you've got people sort of teaming up, so two zones overlap. It makes it even harder to get past. So you have to try and see if you need to all run through them all. That can become quite challenging. Trying to be fun, and the game's quite the pathfinder is quite good. It will try and find you the route that will give you the least chance of getting knocked out. It won't just automatically default to doing the work, just direct this line. It will try and find a way round to avoid as many tackles as possible. So your character will do some odd moves if needs be, but if it avoids all the tackles, that's what they'll do. So
you kind of have to wait. You kind of have to wait the square that you're kind of going for. So like to get the path and to go the right way around sometimes. Like sometimes it will just try and do something really stupid and kind of zigzag through players. But if, like, let's say for example, you kind of want to swing further to the left, make sure your final square is in that kind of way.
Yeah.
And I think even after you make the initial move, you can still continue to move after the fact, can't you?
You can. What I don't know is if you unselect. What I need to do is I haven't really done much experimentation. I don't know if you unselect a player, move another player, then try and go back. Will it let you still move?
No, I don't think you can. No,
I don't think you can.
You have to move them in one. You select that player, you start moving them. That's the player you move and do all the actions with.
Yeah. You have you can also once per turn you can blitz, which is where you basically just go full pelt and charge to another player, and try and sort of knock him down.
Yeah,
that's a once per turn action. You can sort of like knock people back and attack people and push them back, if they're next to you, but you can't charge into them.
Ideally, you want to start your next turn set up ready to deck the guy. If you have to move any number of squares, it counts to blitz. You get one of those per turn, and you need to really make sure you're prepped in advance to slow down the enemy team. Because if you can only run after a player once, you're just going to let them get the. Especially if you're going up against, say, Ram Skaven, they're just going to get the run of the pitch.
Yes, because my Skaven are fast.
You're damn right. Also, I just want to throw out there, I could be saying a shite ton of stuff wrong. Like, I could be even correcting Ram and saying the wrong stuff. It's been a long time since I've played the actual game. And we've only played Blood Bowl, the PC game, twice, so a bit sketchy on this one.
You can also, once per turn, you can throw the ball. Once per turn. Which, again, I think if you move a character and then you go and move somebody else, you can't go back to that character and throw it after at a later time. So there's a sort of sequence of sequencing you have to sort of think about. You can't just move people a bit at a time. You have to sort of think about how you're going to sequence them in order to get the best out of your team. Each team has its sort of a bit like Skazz alluded to. Teams have different advantages and disadvantages. So I'm playing Skaven, who are fucking fast.
Yep.
Downside is that they are especially against Skazz's Orcs, they're pretty much always going to lose a fight. Occasionally they've both got knocked out, but generally they lose. Most of my turns when Skazz played, his turns started with my entire front line of Skaven being knocked out.
In fairness, so if your characters have the same strength stat, you're only rolling one dice.
Yeah.
You can boost that by giving the player doing the fight, and you can give them a +1 by having another one of their teammates with them. Right? So, but if you get anything, so if you're on the same stat, same number, 1 dice. Anything more than that, 2. Unfortunately for Ram, on my team, I have characters called Black Orcs, and they generally have one strength stat higher than most of Ram's front line. So I instantly get 2 dice to roll, for a couple of turns right at the start. But if I were to use my other characters, like my blitzers, my thrower, or anything like that, they'd be pretty much even. So I try not to do that. So anytime Ram gets his ass put on the floor, it's only because I've moved my Black Orcs further up the pitch to try and slow him down. But they don't move very quickly, and they're crap at nearly everything other than hitting people. So they ain't going to catch a ball if it's passed to them. They're not going to pass the ball if, so...
Yeah.
Swings and roundabouts. There's balanced in random little ways.
Yeah.
Also, each type of character can have special stats. So, on the Orcs team, if I have a Goblin and I have a Troll, my Goblin can be thrown by the Troll. Some of my characters will have a block stat. So if someone's going to knock me on my ass, I can use the block ability and cancel it out, so it just becomes a pushback. And in the case of the goblin again, I had something like a dodge ability.
Oh yeah,
I can't
you
remember.
did.
Sidestep. It was sidestep. So you go to hit me, and where it's supposed to knock me down, I can sidestep it and pick where I want to go.
Yeah, which was the result of one of my loss on the Skazz's goals, because I tried to knock the goblin had nearly made it into the end zone.
I was one square off.
One square off the end zone, and I tried to knock him back to try and get the ball off him. And because Skazz could sidestep, he just sidestepped into the end zone and got his touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, fuck's sake. I thought, how did you do that? Sidestep, motherfucker. Oh.
But then some of your characters also have dodge skills.
Yeah.
So depending on what kind of role I get, you can then sidestep, not exactly the skill of sidestep, but like where I would normally put you on your ass, my guys would block. Some of your guys will just dodge out the way, and it'll just turn into a push.
Yeah.
So you have to balance your team based on regular stats and special abilities. Look, one of my players is so fucking stupid he can barely do anything 2/3 of the time.
Yeah, I love that stat. 83% really stupid. So
and you're like, oh my god, dude, just pick up the ball.
Oh, pick up the fucking ball. My one guy who's called the thrower, failed to pick up the ball. He went to pick the ball up and just dropped it immediately. And then the first time he tried to throw the ball, he dropped it next to him again. So you have one job in your description, thrower, and you couldn't throw it any distance at all.
That's the best way, man.
Plan, yeah.
But you do get rerolls. I can't remember how many rerolls per. Is it 3 per turn or 3 per half? I can't remember.
I think it's 3 per half, yeah. I've got 3.
And,
yeah.
So you can choose to reroll pretty much any dice.
You can use one of those rerolls as an
apothecary.
That's the one. Medical revive type thing. You can use one of those for that. Because your characters can get knocked out and put on the bench and KO'd and took out or even killed.
If you play the tabletop game, you've actually got a roster. And if you play a game and one of your characters actually gets killed, you pretty much strike them off the roster. They're out. So if you're playing like a league, they're gone.
Yeah, it's got like a campaign mode in it. Yeah,
yeah, it's actually pretty fun. Because my god, some of the people, the humans have a star player that I remember that I absolutely hate. He has a chainsaw, and at basically the start of the game, I can't remember what the dice roll is for it, but he starts up the chainsaw, and to put your character on its ass, all he has to do is be like, how I was decking you on the front line with the Black Orcs,
yeah,
or on the center line with the Black Orcs. If his chainsaw is started and he's in that same kind of position, your guy is just on the floor.
Yeah,
and then it's a case of like he gets a bonus roll to kill you. And you could watch entire teams just disintegrate, because if you run into him, I don't remember if this is an exact rule, but I remember it being how some of my guys at high school used to play it. If you ran into that guy, you're on your ass.
Yeah.
So you'd watch your entire team just disintegrate.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a surprise. It is a very tactical game. Very tactical. You really do have to sort of like plan what you're going to do. The 2-minute timer is a bit stressful, the whole situation as well. But what's right, and it's a really fun game. I think my only real gripe with it is I really can't stand the camera. So
yeah, I don't know if there's any adjustments to the camera controls, but it's kind of like in this weird ISO view.
If you zoom right out, you're
from behind your side of the. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as you zoom in, the camera sort of comes down, sort of swoops to the side, as if like you're on the corner, and you can move the camera around when you're on the corner stuff. But I really want to be able to rotate the camera and look the other way.
Yeah.
So I don't like the camera.
They really heavily replicated the tabletop experience on that part. Because you generally speaking, when you're sat playing Blood Bowl, you ain't moving around the table.
No.
But I understand what you mean.
Left and right.
Sure, it would be nice to just be able to kind of get around and like have a look around proper look around the board and and get a good look, and actually appreciate the character models too. But
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the other thing is the character models they look really nice, but you can't tell from up high at a glance what each character is because they're necessarily particularly obvious. So a lot of my Skaven look very similar.
you'll learn what they are. So like your gutter runners are all wearing cloaks.
Yes. Oh yeah, there are some differences, but
Black orcs are all got their fists up in the air.
yeah, they are. Yeah, but it's not as easy to spot as like your goblin and your troll. They're
Oh yeah,
obviously,
sure, sure.
I mean, my thrower stands out because he's got a bit of clan scar tech on his arm,
Yeah.
which seems to be doing really fuck all, but he has got it. And yeah, it's a neat game. It's each match takes about an hour if you do the 2 minute rule. And it's designed to feel like a sports game. So there's like a big presentation. It's designed to feel like you're watching like a sports television program. So there's like a team presentation at the start. And if you're really unlucky and the Orcs score a touchdown, you get Orc cheerleaders. And it is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life. But it's just
Sorry about that, man.
Yeah, it's just wrong. But what I want to know is why don't I get Skaven cheerleaders?
Oh no, you don't, do
I
you?
get humans. Where are my fucking Skaven chairs? Where are my rats with nipple tassels? That's what I want to know. They need 8 of them, but
Well, maybe that's now you've got your answer, mate. There ain't a computer powerful enough to render that.
they can't render the physics of 8 nipple tassels.
Exactly.
It's good job they're not
That
pigs.
tangle up really quick.
I say it's good job they're not pigs, isn't it? You're 12.
Mate.
But I want some dry racing rats. That's all I want from my game. I'm with Google. Why don't the Skaven have rat cheerleaders?
I'm glad that Games Workshop have brought Blood Bowl back, though.
Yes.
So I remember all the way back in the Bard days of the podcast, we used to talk about Blood Bowl and that kind of stuff, and Games Workshop just shelved it.
They shelved all their specialist games apart from there was a point where all you had was Warhammer 40K and Lord of the Rings. That's all you had.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Rings tabletop game, the early version, were really good.
Mm.
They were they completely sort of like rejig because they basically knew they were going to be selling into a market of people who didn't play war games. So what they did was they said they spent a lot of time streamlining the rules so that they went down what they saw inspiration from like chess in that the rules are very simple to learn, but the game's got a lot of depth because the rules.
Yeah.
So they basically made the rules really straightforward. Your characters only had like 5 stats. I think 5 stats and a few special rules, but they stripped out a lot of like what you have in normal Warhammer stuff, made into more of a skirmish game. But it's really straightforward stuff. But you could do some really clever stuff with it. And the best thing it had in it was they leaned into the fact that it was a film series. So all your name characters had like hero points. And basically you could use those. And I think you could, this is from memory, so I'm not one. You could either choose to re-roll a dice or you could improve or reduce a dice by 1 either way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you rolled an armor save and it was a 3, you go, actually, I'm going to use a hero point, turn it into a 4, so I passed my armor save. And so you're the idea was to make your name characters a bit more resilient. But that honestly, that was I played a lot of the Lord of the Rings games. That was a really neat skirmish game. I think they sort of moved away from that into more like larger battles. But no, that was a really neat skirmish game. The Lord of the Rings game, really neat. So
I've never played it. If I had to be honest, never played it.
It was literally the rules are like 4 pages. It was so simple, so straightforward, but you could do some really neat stuff like climbing up on things and sort of like there was quite a lot of depth of strategy of how you positioned your stuff. It really did. It worked as a really neat skirmish game. So and they made it. They did a really good job of sort of like because they basically launched a version of it every year to match all the films. And they would come with scenarios based on the battles in the films and explain what you need to recreate them and stuff. So Lord of the Rings game. Okay, there was a long. They kept all the ones they saw like specialist games they did keep, but all fair to them, it was a good game. But my favorite game that they discontinued that they haven't brought back, which is Battlefleet Gothic. That was a neat game where it was spaceship battles.
Never played that one either. I will be honest, as far as Games Workshop is concerned, the only thing I really like that they've made is Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl, yeah. They did an awful lot of sort of Mordheim.
I know of Mordheim.
So for some reason I thought you'd played and liked Mordheim.
No, Bard's played Mordheim.
I might be feeling bad. Mordheim was good. Battlefleet Gothic was good because it's very different because that was spaceship battles, and you had to you could sort of, and that was very much heavily inspired by naval battle games, of the style of work stuff. Because yours, but you had to do it. It was quite neat. Your ships all moved a certain distance forward every turn, unless you fired retros to slow them down. They just keep going forward because it's space.
Magic of space.
And
Physics.
Yeah, and you could fire torpedoes, and they'd fire, and they just keep traveling, and just keep. So your battlefield just end up with loads of just random barrels of torpedoes just flying across the battlefield. If you weren't careful, you could end up flying into them. That was a neat game as well, but again, that sort of unfortunately that didn't grab popularity, unfortunately. But yeah, Blood Bowl was one of the ones they did lose, and it's nice they brought it back.
Yeah. I mean, they were talking about it for quite some time, and then they bought it back. And I think, me and Bard both said, "Oh yeah, mate, we'll buy some of that." We didn't.
No.
I mean, I've still got a huge set from back in high school. I had Blood Bowl, Death Bowl, the expansion, which is now just combined into one thing for the new Blood Bowl, assuming they're still selling it. And then I remember what would you call him? My form tutor. He ran the after-school Blood Bowl games. He had some stuff happen in life, and he basically gave a load of us Blood Bowl teams. We'd pick a team, or we picked a team to play during this. We had schools would have hey, do you want to go and play football for a week? Do you want to go and do this for a week? Do you want to go do this event for a week? Our school had, because we had the Blood Bowl group. They said, yeah, do you want to play Blood Bowl for a whole week? And so we had a league running for a week. And at the end of it, we were allowed to keep the teams that we picked. And at the end of it, the teacher was like, hey, yo, I've got some extra teams. I've got some Skaven, I've got some halflings and all that. Do you want to buy some teams? And we were buying them half the value of what they were. He even said hey, yo, at the start of the week, we'll put in an order. Write down what we want. So we want some orcs, we want some star players for these teams, we want this or that or whatever. And he went and got us teams. He went out and bought us kit and paints and all that kind of stuff. And he ran little competitions, who's painted the best miniatures and that. And he gifted us star players and stuff for our teams. At the end of it, I kind of hoovered up a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I must still have it somewhere.
What a cool teacher.
Mate, he was great. I'll just, little shout out. Mr. Hackett, you were cool, man. That was him. He was the dude that introduced me to Blood Bowl. That was a great game. A lot of the guys I played with over that week were fantastic. He ran an after school get together with the game. I think it was once a week. So fucking fun. And that was when I learned about the Blood Bowl PC games, because they had a version on DOS, and one of the guys actually had the DOS version. He bought it in to show off, and that was, man, it was so fucking fun. It's such a great game, and that's how I'm glad that it's available to buy now. If I had space for it, I would definitely buy, and I'd set up a table and just have Blood Bowl set up on it.
Yeah, it is because
I love that game, man. It's so fucking cool.
No, it's because I've never played a tabletop physical version, but playing this computer version is this is actually, I can see why this is very popular.
It's just, don't get me wrong, Warhammer 40k is cool. Warhammer's cool, but my beef with Warhammer. I can't stand all the chanting.
Yeah.
In the games, I'd much prefer the tabletop to a lot of the games in 40k. But mate, Blood Bowl is just, for me, that was Games Workshop. That was such an amazing game. Yeah. And fucking you'd spend 20 quid on a team for Blood Bowl to set up an army in 40k. It's going to cost you a lot.
It's neat that it was a very different style game, because all their other
Yes.
games they make were basically all variations of the same theme. It's a war game but small scale. It's a war game but really big scale. It's a war game but medium scale. Whereas Blood Bowl, it's a sport with some fighting in it. And the primary goal isn't to like wipe out your opponent or capture point. It's to score touchdowns.
Yeah,
and it was no, it's very neat, and I love the presentation of the game. I just they've really sort of like hit the sort of star and the way it works on the head. They really do feel of it, and it's just so. It just plays really well, and watching your little guys and as they run past and just about like run past 3 orcs, they all swipe at him and they all fail. It's just amusing.
Or getting knocked into the crowd, man.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, and you get a little cutscene of the crowd beating up your guy because they've gone into the crowd. It's like, oh yeah, and occasionally the crowd throw.
So many neat little mechanics, man. It's just a very fun little game.
Random events, like the fact that somebody threw a stone and knocked one of your orcs out.
I think that's that's part of the Death Bowl expansion. I'm not entirely sure because I don't think the raw game just had that. But like what Death Bowl was a separate box with call it cards. They were just cards. And you could have like you draw a set of random cards at the start of a game, and you could claim them at some point during the game. Really neat little things they were doing to expand the base game.
Yeah.
And even the base kit was cheap. Like, I don't think it cost much more than, like, say, 20 quid to get into Blood Bowl back in the day.
Well, it's not more than that now.
I think I swear it was something like super cheap, like 20 to 20, maybe £40.
That sounds more realistic. Because I know base when in the sort of like 90s when I got onto 40k, the base box was 50 quid.
Oh yeah, but 40k.
Yeah.
Just buying a Razorback cost you a fortune.
Yeah. Still
just buying a set of regular ass like
basic
Space
box
Marines
sets,
cost a fortune.
The basic box sets though were quite cheap because that's to get you hooked. That's the drug dealer giving you a little baggie of cocaine when you're buying some. Yeah, that's that. So they still are the cheapest way. I mean, if you buy the box sets now, you're buying a lot. They're about sort of like 120 quid now, but they're still you're getting probably nearly £200 worth of stuff in it. So So yes, 50 quid maybe in the box set price, but you got a lot more for the price. You are right that you wouldn't be able to buy things. So it does sort of.
How much is Blood Bowl now?
Let's have a...
If they're still even selling it,
they are still selling it. They is still going on their website. Let me.
Because that'll probably be whatever the current edition of Blood Bowl is, like 3 or 4 or whatever, and then it'll likely be humans, orcs, and then all the kit involved. So Blood Bowl, Death Bowl, simplified rules.
I think you're right. I think it's humans and orcs in the base game.
I mean that's what the kit was when I started, and then to be fair, I know people who just used to buy the starter kit over and over just to get extra teams, man. Because I think a team used to go for like 15-20 quid.
So Blood Bowl, second season edition, which is the starter kit, it's £100.
Wow.
Let me find you what you get into that. So you get where's the listing of all the stuff you get? So you get, it's humans and orcs. So 12 red plastic Imperial Nobility team players, 1 red plastic star player Griff Oberwald, 1 red plastic Blood Bowl Ogre, 12 green plastic Black Orc team players, which is 6 goblins and 6 Black Orcs, 1 green plastic star player Goldra, 1 train troll, 2 dwarf referees, a dwarf or an elf, extra balls team counters, rulebook, double-sided fold-out official pitch divided into squares. 2 double-sided card dugouts, 3 plastic templates, 2 full sets of Blood Bowl dice, 1 for humans and 1 for orcs, 2 quick reference cheat sheets. And that is £100, which, to be fair, for Games Workshop box game is actually quite cheap.
I think you actually get a wee bit more in that than I did in mine back in the day.
I'd say
that's all right. And as I say, that's Blood Bowl and Death Bowl together.
Like I say, the box sets are good value for money. Even if they are expensive, you couldn't. I don't know how much it costs to buy this team separately, but I bet you if you actually add all the parts up, it probably cost you a lot more than that to buy them separately. Well, some you can't. But if that's not bad, that's a £100 for a box set for Games Workshop. It's pretty run of the mill these days for stuff like that. I think Leviathan, when it came up, was 120, and that was quite considered cheap. That was their new edition box set. So yeah, that's I consider that reasonable. But yeah, I would certainly recommend. The PC version. But if you've got a mate, a couple of mates who want to play, you could play a little league. That'd be quite cool.
Yep.
Player feedback.
Personally, I would recommend Blood Bowl 2 until I actually get to sit down and play Blood Bowl 3. I haven't played it. I think I might own Blood Bowl 3, but I've never launched it.
From what I've seen, Blood Bowl 2 is considered the best of the 3. Probably because of the reason you started. I think Blood Bowl 3 looks like it has gone that, at least from memory, I think it has gone on the route of lots of expensive DLC. But no, really, hardly recommend Blood Bowl. And I think we'll play a few more matches.
Awesome.
I need to regain my honour.
You need to wash your eyes out, mate, from all them orc cheerleaders you saw.
Oh, God.
Although I'm pretty sure if I don't have to see that again, I'll happily throw a few games.
Yeah. But
it's 1-for-1.
It's 1-for-1. It is 1-for-1. But you see, this time Skazz remembered how to play his team. Which makes it, whereas last time we were both like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still in the I don't really know what I'm doing stage, but Skazz sort of knows how to play his team now.
Hit people.
Basically hit people. So basically the two methodologies: I run, he hits.
Mm-hmm.
So
sheer gutter runner, clap the bastard.
Yeah, I feel I'm just going to leave a sacrificial pledge at the front, just so I fulfill the requirements. So someone on the front line, just pull everybody back. So beat him up as much as you like. I don't like him.
I mean, that's the other reason why I'm a bit loose on the rules for Blood Bowl. Because I mean, it's been so long since I played tabletop, and let's be fair, a lot of the times when you are playing tabletop with people, you ain't going to be able to keep up with all them characters on the pitch, and that. There's always going to be some kind of flex in the rules. Have you already moved that character? Have you already done that? Are you going back to do this? The game is going to be a lot more. The PC game is going to be a lot more rigid with what it's going to allow you to get away with.
It can remember stuff.
Yeah. So.
No. You did move that character. No, I didn't. Yes, you did.
It's right here, saved in memory.
Yeah. See, he's got a red circle around him. I'm sorry. Nice try, though.
Fun game.
Very fun game. Right, so...
Not anything else, Ram?
No, that is something I have been playing, but not enough worth discussing at the moment.
Sure.
So I think we'll wrap that one up here. So thank you very much for you joined us this evening. Our next podcast will be on the 15th of August, in a fortnight's time, at approximately 6:30. That one I will be okay, because I'm not at work that week.
Good job.
6:30 GMT +1. You can check that out here on rannerds.com, sorry, youtube.com/rannerds or twitch.tv/rannerds. You can check out our games night. Next one, that will be on the 13th of August at 8:30 GMT. Again on twitch.tv/rannerds. And you can watch me and Skazz have another match of Blood Bowl and see who can
Orc nipple tassles.
Orc nipple tassles. That is just so wrong. So you can join us for that. And apart from that, thank you very much for joining us this evening. So I've been the Suffolk Ram.
Skazz.
We'll see you in a fortnight.
Take it easy, guys.